£6,000. That's what the greatest female darts player of her era took home for being world champion. In the same year, the men's winner walked away with £60,000. She never hid how much that gap hurt. What she couldn't have known was that a teenager from Doncaster would one day earn 6 times her prize money in a single season and beat the men to do it. The modern chapter opens at Alexandra Palace in London on the 17th of December 2019. That night, Fallon Sherrock became the first woman ever to beat a man at the PDC World Championship. Born on the 2nd of July 1994 in Milton Keynes, Sherrock knocked out Ted Yvette's 3-2 in the opening round, landing 6 180s, averaging 91.12 and closing the match on double 18. Her words afterward went straight to the point. "I have proven something for women's darts, that women can play the men and beat them." She was only getting started. A 3-1 win over 11th seed Mensa Suljovic followed, before Chris Dobie finally stopped her 4-2 in round 3. To this day, she stands as the only woman ever to win a match at a PDC World Championship, and the only one to win 2 in a row, which is exactly how she earned the nickname Queen of the Palace. The scenes inside Ali Pali were something rarely witnessed in the sport. Once she'd beaten Yvette, a crowd of mostly drunk men roared, "We love you, Fallon, we do." And Yvette himself handled the loss with real grace, applauding her, urging the crowd to cheer louder, and tweeting afterward, "Enjoy it all, more than deserved." A quieter piece of history unfolded in the scoring booth that same night, where Daniela Barta Bogdanov of Hungary became the first female scoring official at a PDC World Championship. Sherrock's story stretches well beyond that single match. During 2021, at the Nordic Darts Masters, she became the only woman in PDC history to reach a televised tournament final, clawing back from 9-3 down to beat world number 5 Dimitri van den Bergh 11-10 in the semis, before Michael van Gerwen edged the final 11-7. That same year at the Grand Slam of Darts, she broke through as the first woman to reach the knockout stage of a mixed major, then the first woman ever to reach a PDC televised ranking quarter-final, where Peter Wright stopped her 16-13. The perfect leg came next. On the 18th of March 2023, she landed the first 9-darter ever hit by a woman at a PDC event, and by the 25th of August that year, she'd become the first to hit a televised 9-darter, achieved at the Moda Super Series in Portsmouth. Recognition arrived in 2023 with an MBE for services to darts. To grasp how far all of this has travelled, you have to rewind to the woman who was doing every bit of it first. Trina Gulliver, born on the 30th of November 1969 in Leamington Spa, carried the nickname Golden Girl, and she remains the most successful female player in World Championship history as a 10-time BDO Women's World Champion. Her reign began with the very first Women's World Championship in 2001, and what nobody could stop was the run that followed, 7 undefeated years at the event, a record that finally cracked in the 2008 final. Gulliver's career also holds the sharpest reminder of how lopsided this sport once was. Back in 2008, the BDO Women's Champion collected £6,000, while the men's champion that year, Jelle Clausen, walked away with £60,000. The women played first to 2 sets, the men first to 7, and Gulliver never hid her frustration with that gap. One detail says everything about where she came from. She first picked up darts at the age of 2 in her parents' pub, trained as a carpenter and joiner before the sport took over her life, and walked on stage to You Sexy Thing by Hot Chocolate. She wasn't alone in that earlier generation. Deta Hedman, known as the Heart of Darts, was born in Jamaica in 1959 and arrived in England in 1973, and she made her own history as the first woman to record a televised win over a male opponent at the 2005 UK Open. Her career has now spanned 4 decades and more than 200 titles, and the most remarkable moment of all came late, when she captured the WDF Women's World Championship in December 2025 at the age of 66, finally claiming the world crown that had slipped away from her for so long, with an OBE following shortly after. Through much of that career, she worked full-time night shifts at Royal Mail, and her nickname traces back to her charity work supporting disabled children. Then there's Anastasia Dobromyslova from Russia with Love, born on the 26th of September 1984 in Tver. A 3-time BDO Women's World Champion, she was the player who ended Gulliver's 7-year unbeaten streak in that 2008 final, and she claimed a landmark of her own at the 2009 Grand Slam of Darts, beating Vincent van der Voort 5-4 to become the first woman to defeat a man on televised PDC darts. The very first woman to walk onto a PDC World Championship stage at all was Gayle King, born on the 2nd of January 1964 in Canada, who competed at the 2001 World Championship at the Circus Tavern in Purfleet. She lost 3-1 to world number 29 Graham Stoddart, yet she prized a set away from him, and her appearance is credited with pushing the BDO to launch the Women's World Championship that very same year. The story now surges into the present because over the past few years, one player has torn the record books apart. Bo Greaves, known as Bow and Arrow, was born on the 9th of January 2004 in Doncaster, and she's already a 3-time WDF World Champion with titles in 2022, 2023 and 2024, becoming the youngest women's world champion in history back in 2022 at just 18. Her grip on the PDC Women's Series is where belief starts to strain because as of April 2026, she holds a record 57 Women's Series titles. During the 2025 season alone, she captured 18 of the 24 events and she stitched together a 114 match-winning streak between the 13th of April 2025 and the 21st of March 2026, a run finally snapped by none other than Fallon Sherrock. The money tracked the dominance. According to ESPN, in October 2025, Greaves closed the 2025 PDC Women's Series with a record £37,600 in prize money, the highest total ever banked in a single campaign, and more than 2.5 times what second-place Sherrock earned. 2 moments then toppled the final barriers. On the 25th of February 2026, at Players' Championship 6 in Leicester, Greaves became the first woman to hit a 9-darter on the PDC Pro Tour, finishing on double 12 against Mensur Suljovic, and her reaction was pure honesty. "It's nice to be the first woman to hit one on the PDC Pro Tour. It was hard to get back into the game after I'd hit it. I was shaking afterwards." She reached even higher on the 27th of April 2026 when, as Sky Sports reported, Bo Greaves became the first woman to win a PDC ranking title, edging Michael Smith 8-7 in the Players' Championship 11 final. Getting there meant beating 3 former world champions in Rob Cross, Gary Anderson and then Smith, whom she finished off with a sensational 142 checkout for £15,000. Earlier still, at the 2025 World Youth Championship, she'd beaten reigning world champion Luke Littler 6-5 in a semi-final, and world number 1 Luke Humphries summed her up in 4 words: "She belongs in this environment." Greaves also sits at the heart of the sport's most frustrating rule. Players are barred from entering both the WDF and PDC World Championships in the same year, which meant that in 2024 and 2025, she turned down PDC World Championship invitations she'd already qualified for, choosing instead to defend her WDF Lakeside titles. Her verdict to Sky Sports left no doubt. The ruling about not being able to play both is stupid. I can understand the men doing it, but the women, I don't understand that part of it. They don't have a World Championship for the women. That's exactly why she's publicly called for a separate PDC Ladies World Championship. Those questions of structure and money lead straight into how the entire landscape has shifted. Before 2019, women reached the PDC World Championship only on rare occasions, but from that year onward, the PDC set aside 2 guaranteed places for women. The 2026 event pushed things further, expanding the field to 128 players with a minimum of 4 women guaranteed, and 5 actually qualified, an all-time high. Around 2020 and 2021, the PDC launched the Women's Series, the first tournament series built exclusively for women, running 24 events a season, with prize money climbing to £15,000 per event by 2026. The year 2022 brought the Women's World Match Play, the PDC's first fully televised women's tournament, broadcast live on Sky Sports from the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. Sherrock claimed that inaugural title, Greaves seized the next 2, and in 2025 Lisa Ashton took it, beating Sherrock 6-5 in a final where Sherrock missed 11 championship darts. Lisa Ashton has earned her own spotlight here. Nicknamed the Lancashire Rose, born on the 27th of August 1970 in Bolton, she's a 4-time BDO Women's World Champion. What she pulled off in January 2020 stunned the circuit, becoming the first woman to win a PDC Tour card through Q School at the age of 49, surviving a field of more than 500 men. By March 2021, she'd broken another ceiling, averaging over 100 on television for the first time as a woman, posting 100.3 against Erin Beanie at the UK Open. At the very top, the money now tells its own story. For 2026, the PDC World Championship prize fund doubled to £5 million, with a record $1 million going to the winner, and that event stays open to every player regardless of gender. The PDC has still drawn a hard line though, with CEO Matt Porter stating in December 2024, "We have invested over £700,000 into women's darts over the past 5 years. At present, we do not plan to introduce a separate Women's World Championship. The Paddy Power World Darts Championship is open to all players. No honest account of women's darts today can sidestep its most divisive controversy." At the centre stands Noa-Lynn van Leuven, born on the 27th of September 1996 in the Netherlands, the first openly transgender person to compete in a televised darts tournament and the first trans player at the PDC World Championship in 2025. Her ability is beyond dispute, holding the women's series record average of 109.64, set in a win over Bo Greaves in October 2024. Her presence split the sport down the middle. On one side, veteran Deta Hedman twice forfeited matches rather than face her, putting it plainly, "I'm not playing against a man in a women's event," while former Dutch teammates Anke Zijlstra and Aileen de Graaf walked away from the national team in protest. On the other side, world champions Luke Humphries and Michael van Gerwen defended Van Leuven, with Humphries noting she's not broken any rules and Van Gerwen calling the criticism heartbreaking. Van Leuven herself reported online abuse and death threats, and she stepped away for a mental health break in early 2025. The rules then changed beneath her. On the 28th of July 2025, the WDF restricted its women's competitions to those assigned female at birth, and by early April 2026, the DRA, which governs PDC events, banned trans women from women's events after commissioning a report by developmental biologist Dr. Emma Hilton, who concluded that multiple, small magnitude sex differences accumulate to generate male advantage over females in darts. Van Leuven said the ruling effectively retired her, adding, "Apparently, I just got retired, not by choice, but because I'm no longer allowed to compete," before insisting she was not done fighting. Trans players remain eligible for open tournaments. So consider where all of this leaves women's darts. These were the women who beat the men, broke the records, and forced the sport to change. In one generation, women's darts travelled from Trina Gulliver collecting £6,000 while the men's champion took 60, to Bo Greaves banking 37,600 in a single season and beating 3 former world champions to win a ranking title outright. The teenager from Doncaster earned 6 times Gulliver's prize money, exactly as the sport was told it never could. And judging by everything Greaves did in 2026, the most unbelievable moment in women's darts probably hasn't arrived yet.